Shalom, Israel. It's that time again. The ISUPK, under Commanding General Yahana, presents the Lord's 57th Annual Passover. That's right, the Lord's 57th Annual Passover, April 4th, 2026, in Houston, Texas. All Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans are commanded to observe the Lord's Passover. This will be the biggest Passover to date. You do not want to miss this. Fresh lamb, fresh wine, and bitter herbs as commanded by the Most High. Only $200 per person, ages 17 and up. The biggest event of the year. There is only one Passover, and it's under Commanding General Yahana. See you there, Israel. Shalom.
Nobody else there to compare to. Train for war, men of war, and war like apparel. Prefer our leaders, can't get between us. Watch where you stepping.
The ISUPK presents the Lord's 57th Annual Passover, April 4th, 2026, in Houston, Texas. You do not want to miss this one, Israel. Shalom.
And all the warriors be like,
Negros y nativos somos los verdaderos israelitas. ¿Esto dónde lo dice? Según esto dice en la Biblia.
Show that Puerto Ricans love America, but that ain't reality. Police attack was planned beforehand. Only white cops will sign.
They're not only resources to defend ourselves.
We tried to move people onto the sidewalk, but the police were all out for blood.
Another series of protests was staged by thousands of students, parents, and the Brown Berets. In June 1968, the group that had become known as the East LA 13 was released on bail.
Demonstrate to our people and we deserve better and that we could, get better.
I don't think there's ever been a time when we need more of the spirit of the young lords than today.
I guess we had no fear. We just did what we thought at the time was the right thing to do.
National captain of the Black Panther Party. They are making it their business to process arresting me and my wife, to a process arresting numerous Panthers on the block.
Police just went in and started beating them viciously. It was ugly. They were just yelling at us, you dirty spicks, dirty Mexicans, who do you think you are?
Testing, mic check, 1 2 1 2. Mic check. I know it's a late night show. Anybody listening, anybody on there, if y'all can hear me, type a 1 in the chat. If not, I'll check it manually myself. Just let me know if y'all can hear me or not. Let's see, fix this camera angle. All right. Okay. 1 second, Israel. Bear with me. Most High in Christ. Throw out a sis. Hey, shalom, sis. Yahweh Shema, Ulata Bashim Yahweh Shai. To the sister Patarawana, shalom, sis. Yahweh cuida sobre ti en el nombre de Yahweh Shai. You know, trying to work on the salute in Spanish. You know, with that, man, ya saben, this is the Inconvenient Truth, another episode, doing a late night, you know, and figure, you know, I speak on the situation that's going on right now, you know, with I'm sure y'all been seeing all over the internet. It's been all over the news. Apparently it's a big shot to the quote unquote Latino community, the Mexican community, you know, about the allegations of César Chávez. Let me fix this camera angle, Salakia. Just bear with me, Israel. Look at this camera angle, right? You know. And what can be said? You understand? Is it word? You know, a lot. It's a big blow to the community, obviously, for a lot, because a lot of people saw César Chávez as a hero. You know, see him as, you know, a big political figure that worked on the rights for, you know, for migrant farm workers, or for, you know, and or was it the United Farm Workers, right, for farm workers, you know, and we all thought that he was for the raza, right, that he was pro raza, brown pride, you know, whatever you want to call it, you know, he was for his people. Well, before these allegations came out about him, you know, things have already, like, there's already been dirt that's came out about César Chávez. You understand? He wasn't the pro-raza figure that he proclaimed himself to be, or that people assumed him to be. You understand? Right, tonight's episode, right, is of the Inconvenient Truth is titled Dolores Huerta Speaks, Allegations and Apologies Around César Chávez. Of course, right, a lot of people, you know, when the allegations came out, people were saying that, you know, they're making this up. Who are these victims, you know, that they're making this up, and it's a conspiracy. I mean, granted, this is around the time of what's going on with Donald Trump and the Epstein files, you know, and could this possibly be a tactic used to distract, right, from him and everything he's done, and pointed towards the Mexican community, pointed towards the raza, you know, and demonize us even more, right, to take away days like César Chávez Day, because as you see already, they're already trying to get rid of the holiday. They want to rename the streets. They want to the schools, everything about César Chávez. They're already working on trying to erase and what they call it, the cancel culture is going on. You know, where they're trying to get rid of it, get rid of César Chávez. You know, based on his allegations. Now I understand, right? These are some serious allegations, and this should not be taken lightly. You know. Sexual abuse, sexual SAing, you know, should never be downplayed. And regardless of who the perpetrator is, it should be taken serious. So granted, I understand the response, and I don't fault people for responding that way. You understand? I don't see people be quick to defend him and say innocent until proven guilty. But my thing is, you know, based on his character, based on how he's mistreated the raza before, I would not be surprised if these allegations that come out are true, you know. And one of the main people accusing him of doing this, right, is Dolores Huerta. Dolores Huerta, right, which was his right hand, you know, like his number two in this movement. She came out and said that he assaulted her. he manipulated her, and that the only reason why she stayed quiet is because she didn't want to ruin the movement. You understand? Didn't want to put a stain on what was being done for the farm workers. So for how many years she didn't carry this the secret, and I don't know if there's something to gain. I mean, at 93, I think she's 93 years old. Like, what could she, what is there to gain from coming out with this now? If that's the case, because people are gonna say that she's saying this because she's trying to get money, that she's trying to, just take credit for his words. This is just the allegations I've been seeing online is something, man. I'll say this though: people quick to defend Cesar Chavez, and ignore what the victims are saying shows another issue that we have. We got in the season, man. We got newly raised Mighty Precinct Officer 5000, the camarada, Shalom Canal. See if I add you to the stage. I believe I added you to the stage, sir. Salakia. Let me see. You should be right there. Salakia, sir, you there? No, so while we wait for Officer Kamadada to respond and get ready, I'm gonna continue speaking, right? So Dolores Huerta came out and spoke about what had happened, right? And you have other people, I guess 2 other women that have came out, and it's just it's not surprising, right, that these allegations are coming out about him when he's seen, like, for many of y'all who believe, let me say this, for many of y'all who believe Cesar Chavez, right, was this great pro-raza revolutionary leader, he was the furthest thing from it. Allegations aside, there's evidence of where he actually stood when it comes to the raza, when it comes to Mexicanos. You understand? So Cesar Chavez was not this great pro-revolutionary leader trying to do things for the Mexican community, for the Latino community. He was trying to help out his own interests. And he admits it. He admitted it on camera. So, for people to get, for people listening, you want to get offended, I understand. I understand this is heavy. I understand this is disturbing. It makes you uncomfortable. But I'm going to go with what's facts, right? There's footage of Cesar Chavez calling Mexicans mojados, using racial slurs. I don't know if I can say it because, the regulations on social media. Right? This is supposed to be a man that's pro-raza, and he's talking like that about his people. And why? Why was he saying these things? Because he was getting mad that when they were striking at the farms, right, that the farmers were hiring undocumented raza to replace them, right? Because they were willing to work for less pay. And here's the messed up part. That Cesar Chavez, instead of blaming the farmers for how shady they were to want to hire undocumented workers, and pay them very little, he went and blamed the undocumented workers who are just trying to come over here and survive and make a living. You understand? He went and blamed the raza that's undocumented. And then he said some things that were really horrible, man. He talked about, that these undocumented people were bringing the poverty from Mexico over here. Now, why does that sound familiar, man? What does that sound a lot like today? I'm in a minute, I'm going to play the footage of one of the speeches he said. You understand? I'm going to play one of these speeches that he said to show y'all the parallel of who we have as president today and how he started his campaign. Let me tell y'all something, man. If Cesar Chavez were alive today, best believe he would have been a Latino for Trump. That I will say. That I wouldn't put it past that he would be up there with teamed up with Donald Trump. You understand? He would have probably been on there with that one brother that was talking about, we need to do something about the undocumented people because we don't want a taco truck on every corner. That's the type of man that I feel that I would not put it past Cesar Chavez was, man. You understand? He probably more than likely was a sellout and a traitor to his people. That we can say. Okay. Now these allegations right now, there's no right. It's still under investigation. But what we do know, that's a fact, is that he made these comments about undocumented raza. Khan says, right? The sister Patarawana said it, right? Sounds like Trump. Now you have to ask yourself something. Where do you think Trump got the the gall to start saying these things? Let me tell y'all something, man. When you see America mistreat the raza, when you see America putting ICE up and down our barrios and our streets, you know who's to blame for that? Is people that have that same mentality like Cesar Chavez has. You understand? It's you Christians out there, you Christian leaders, supposed leaders out there that sell out and side with your oppressor. It's your fault that our people get mistreated. You understand? But Salakia, we got Precinct Officer 5000 Kamadat. Salakia, can you hear me? No sweat. Salakia, sir. Whenever you're ready, I'm right here. All right. You understand? So, what can we say is that y'all are to blame for the situation that we have today. All you leaders, supposed leaders out there, and I'm not shocked that this comes out. About him. A lot of these leaders out there that claim to be pro raza.
Hey, Salakia Kanal, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, Kanal. Khan.
All right.
So, Salakia, sir, did you want to add anything? I was just trying to give an introduction to what we're going to talk about.
Now you got it, Karnal. Salakia, I couldn't hear. I had to jump back on because my internet connection. But go ahead, go ahead, Karnal. No sweat.
No sweat. Salakia, just real quick, I'm about to play the first interview right of Cesar Chavez, where he said those horrible things, because first we got to understand who this person was, right? A lot of people don't want to believe that he was capable of doing what Dolores Huerta accused him of, because they viewed him as this pro-raza revolutionary leader, but he was the furthest thing from it. You understand? And here is the evidence, right? Like I said, this isn't my opinion. This isn't how I feel about the man. This is what he said and is on camera. I believe this was an interview that he did not want coming out, but it came out. So let's go to that interview first, and then we'll talk more about it. All right, bear with me 1 second. This is titled Lost Interview. Good night.
Lost Interview?
Lost Interview.
This question of the illegals I find very interesting. Would you say that it's, at this particular moment, as important as any of the other problems facing the union?
Oh, yes. In the last 3 weeks, last 2 weeks, it has become an emergency for us. Well, there's an awful lot of illegals coming in by the hundred, by the thousands. Our people are not only in some of the crews where there's now strike breaking. Some of those crews are 100% illegals, outright, openly, with no attempt to disguise it. And so it's so bad now that we estimate 60 to 70% of the farm workers in California, of the resident worker, of the citizen, is out of a job because of the wetbacks. They're coming in by the thousands.
Whoa, did you hear that, sir? Did you hear what he just said? I'm gonna rewind that.
The interview back before.
Yeah.
and if I could, that's the thing, that a lot of Hispanics believe that he was fighting for farm workers' rights, but he was one-sided. He was only fighting for the citizens, the farm workers,
right?
The legal, the illegal. He was accusing them of taking, their jobs, just like the oppressor does today.
Right. So like I'm gonna rewind it.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna rewind it back.
This question of the illegals I find very interesting. Would you say that it's at this particular moment as important as any of the other problems facing the union?
Oh yes, in the last 3 weeks, last 2 weeks, it has become an emergency for us. There's an awful lot of illegals coming in by the hundred, by the thousands. Our people are not only in some of the crews where there's now strike breaking. Some of those crews are 100% illegals, outright, openly, with no attempt to disguise it. And so it's so bad now that we estimate 60 to 70% of the farm workers in California, of the resident worker, of the citizen, is out of a job because of the wetbacks. They're coming in by the thousands, just unbelievable.
He said 60 to 70% of the farm workers are out of a job because of the wetbacks. Now, so like, sir, I got a question. He's calling them wetbacks. Como dicen con el nopal en el frente?
Yeah.
Do you not like when he was saying this, does he not recall what he was called? Did he not recall how his family was probably treated? A lot of y'all sellouts out there, y'all Latinos for Trump, man. Do y'all not see the racism that y'all get treated with in America when you hang out around your quote unquote your white friends, and what they call it, the microaggressions, the passive aggressive racism that they throw at y'all, and how y'all feel like y'all have to act a certain way around these white people so that that everyone feels comfortable.
Right.
You just ignore all that and you go and blame it and take it out on your own people. That's what he's doing right here. Salakia.
Oh yeah, carnal.
The sister Patarawana said, wow, the hatred he has for his own people is diabolical. Oh, it says, but wait, there's more. Listen to what else this cat says.
See, they're coming in with the consent of the Immigration Service, which is part of the Department of Justice. How else could they come? We, for instance, know that if you go to Coachella, you go to around the El Paso area, the secondary immigration checkpoints have been unmanned now for at least 3-4 weeks. They're closed. They're at night. They're dark. There aren't any patrolmen there. It's a gimmick. We think that it's a prelude at the beginning to a big drive on the part of the administration and the Mexican government to bring the Bracero program again. It's a vicious attack on the local worker, and
he's blaming the Bracero program for the attack on the farm workers, carnal. Do you hear this?
Yeah, that's wow.
Does he not know what the Bracero program was and what happened? Are you just gonna ignore and forget all that and say these things, man?
It's just one of those things that agribusiness thinks they can get away with it, and our job is to inform the whole country what's happening, together with a boycott, and solve it that way. And so the workers themselves, even though a lot of them are Mexican descendancy themselves, are very uptight and very, very worried and very mad about the illegals coming to break their strikes, and it takes away their jobs, their livelihood, and so forth.
Does
And
that
if I,
put you?
Go ahead.
Because during that era, right, he says that a lot of farm workers were mad that illegals were coming and taking their jobs, when the truth is that a lot of those farm workers got their residency through that farmers. I can't recall what's the name of that program. It was a program. My grandfather was, that's how he got his residency. It was through that farming program. I don't know what was it called. I don't know. I'm not sure if you could find it. But so for a lot of those farm workers were illegal. So when he says, I mean, there is brothers and sisters that they become citizens and they think they're better than everyone else. But that's just a few of us. Not everybody thinks like that. You understand? So for him to say, oh, a lot of these farm workers were mad, if he was the head and that's how he feels, maybe he was pushing that ideology on them.
Right. Like, I'm not, a union leader. I'm not a union delegate. I don't own a farm. I don't have my own business yet. Lord Allah, I can have one day. You know what I'm saying, sir? But why in the hell would I blame the people willing to work for less instead of blaming the business owner who's trying to pay them less? You understand? He's blaming the farm workers, right? The undocumented people for coming over here willing to work. He's blaming them instead of blaming the farm worker that's paying them less. You understand? That's what he's doing. And so, like, it dawned on me on something, man. Something dawned on me, man. What if he was that's COINTELPRO right there? What if he was paid off and bought? So all of a sudden, knowing your roots, knowing your history, and you all of a sudden are gonna start saying these things publicly. He might have possibly been bought off by the government, to destroy us, to keep us right. This happened during the early 70s and 80s.
Pin us against each other.
Yeah, Khan, right? Like, pin us against one another. This is like during the time of when a lot of movements were taking place, right? For protests against Vietnam, civil rights. So, like, I don't remember exactly when the civil rights movement ended and when César Chávez's movement started, but during the 60s, right, is when César Chávez's United Farm Worker 60s. Yeah. So this is during the time of all these revolutionary movements. Don't get me. I would not be surprised if it comes out that he was bought. He was paid off, paid to say these things.
The only one that would know would be Dolores Huerta.
God.
And she should speak on that too. If you're gonna start, exposing his wrongdoings and everything, she should expose that too. Like, you know what? He was bought out, or if it's true. So, like, I'm not saying
right,
but she should expose everything.
Khan. And maybe she will. Maybe she's gonna bring out more stuff on him. But just hearing what he's saying, I wouldn't put it past. That's what his whole thing was. So, like, give me 1 second. We got Officer 5,000 Madabar in the scene, man. Hey, shalom, sir.
Shalom, sir.
If people got questions or comments, of course, there's a link I put in the chat. Y'all more than welcome to hit the link and join us, and give your opinions on the matter or any questions y'all got. I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. But it's just all of a sudden, just hearing them is like, okay, maybe that's what might have happened with this man. But Salaki, I'm gonna play some more.
In an uncomfortable position to to be against the illegal immigrants because they are from Mexico. In other words, part of your program has been an appeal to equal treatment of people of Mexican origin. Right?
Oh yeah, sure, but we're speaking of the legal ones. You know, we don't want Mexico to export its poverty to us, and then we pay. It's not the agriculture, it's not society in general. It's a farm worker again paying for those sins. You know, and Mexico should take the initiative and stop exporting the poverty to us. They should do something about the rural.
Did you hear that?
So like, carnal, if I could.
Right. Go ahead,
right,
carnal.
because he said Mexico should stop exploiting their poverty to us, meaning, America. But what he should have said is that America should stop the destruction of Mexico because it creates poverty. That's what he should have said.
Right.
He should understand that there's poverty in Mexico, Central America, because all the farm workers come from Central America, not only Mexico, Central America, South America.
Right.
You understand? And what he should have said is America should stop destroying these countries that creates poverty. You understand? And he wasn't all there and being honest with the truth.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead, carnal.
Oh, go ahead. Salaki, we have Officer Matabar with us, sir. Hey, Shalom Matawan, Yabashir
What's going
on, Aki?
What's going on, sir?
Everything to wild, man. I'm just checking. I just got in, so I'm just tuned in, checking y'all out.
Khan,
sir.
Tawada for joining us. Yeah, if I could just we're talking about, I don't know if you've been seeing what's been circulating all over the internet. César Chávez allegations that came out against him, that he's apparently, S.A. Dolores Huerta and a couple of other women that were in his movement with him,
I thought you said that also underage.
Yeah, and then underage, they were underage. The other two women.
Oh, okay.
See, I'll play the article in a bit. Just right now, I'm trying to show the character of César Chávez, because everyone right now, I guess it's a big blow to the Mexican community, because a lot of people saw this man as a hero for Mexicans. A lot of people saw him as this revolutionary leader for the farm workers. But hearing him what he's saying in this interview, and then we got these allegations coming out, like, it shows that he's not what he portrayed himself to be.
And
go ahead.
If I could, another thing too is that farm workers were living in poverty as well.
Right.
You understand? And for him to, he was trying to cause division between, his Mexicans that lived in the U.S. and Mexicans that were coming from Mexico.
Right.
You can't. What he should have done. And that's the reason why you can't have any type of leader, because in order to have a leader, you need to have brotherhood.
Right.
And him coming from, being Mexican himself, Mexican descent, he should have understand that no matter if you're from the U.S. or Mexico, you're the same people.
Right.
And you deserve to have rights.
Right.
And he didn't do that for his own people.
Right.
And he and when you think about it, that's like how they were, when I hear about our Judite brothers, that you have some that were working the fields and other that were working other jobs, but it created separation and hatred amongst each other, because it's like, okay, you're allowed to work this, you're not allowed to do this. So now it brings contention, and now you're looking at your brother with hatred, because it's like, well, what makes you better than me? You understand? And that's one thing that he was bringing division more so than bringing rights to his people.
Right.
Ayo, carnal.
So like, sir. So yeah, that's basically what we're talking about tonight.
Yeah, I got you. And they always wait till you get to a certain status, but then they want to expose you. You know, somebody always working for the oppressor. Then when they get to that certain status, that certain popularity, then they want to expose you. Then they come out with it and put it on you.
Khan. I was gonna say, sir, I don't know if you was hearing the things he said, but to me, it sounds like he was bought or paid off to say these things. You know, like because he just his whole approach where all of a sudden he starts blaming undocumented migrants for bringing poverty to America, undocumented Mexicans bringing poverty to America, when he himself, you're like, he was born in Arizona, but his family came here undocumented from Mexico.
Right.
So obviously he was, you know, he was a 304 for America, based on what he's saying, you know.
Right. I mean, we got sellouts amongst all our people, so
Khan.
They gonna do the same thing. They gonna sell out our people just so they can rise above, and then they goddamn oppressor gonna bring them down too in the end. We didn't use you enough time for you to get exposed.
Khan. So like, I'm gonna play the last bit of this interview.
Economy over there, and then see it's a way of breaking the strike. It's a way of demoralizing the farm workers. And for instance, the workers are going to ask for stamps, for food stamps. They're lining up the offices for welfare, and they're being told, we can't give you a job because there are plenty of jobs. And the workers say, well, there aren't any jobs. We just came from the fields. They won't hire us, or they just laid us off because either because we're strikers, or because we're members of the union, or because the braceros, the illegals will do the job for half the money we're getting.
That's wild. Every time I see one of our people and they got that smooth face, they can cut off their mustache and everything, I always look suspicious at them.
Khan. You know what? That's heavy you say that, sir, because now that you say that, I wonder if they paid him to take that stance, you know, because it's how do you come from that background? You know, when you say Mexico is sending its poverty over here, so was Mexico sending its poverty over here when your family came over here undocumented? Was Mexico sending its problems over here when your family came over here? Are you part of that poverty? Right. You know, even if you were born here, you're telling me that you're not a part of that same poverty you're complaining about? And then his whole stance is to blame the undocumented workers for the benefits. When you're not blaming the system, you're not blaming the employers that want to pay them less.
Right. Then he ain't even saying nothing about, you know, we was here first.
Right.
You know, y'all, you know, our so-called Latino brothers, we was here first before your goddamn American rules and everything else.
Right.
Y'all come on unlocking our people. We was here first. This was our land before y'all even got here. But now he want to take a stance.
Now he want to be American. This is the start. I don't want to say exactly that this was the start of the Mexican Americans versus Mexicans beef there is, but definitely this is evidence of it, you know. And that's what he's pushing when he's talking, right? Now he's creating that divide, as Officer Kamada brought out, between Mexicans and Mexican Americans over money, over jobs, over status, you know, and benefits.
Right. So, like you say he was born here, huh? You say Arizona,
huh? Khan.
Your people was born here before it was Arizona.
Khan.
You know what I'm saying? So you can't take a stance and go against your goddamn people when they already the original people that was here. How you gonna take a stance? You doing that because you follow the goddamn oppressor.
Right.
Right.
And that is diabolical, man. And that what he's saying, that's similar to what Donald Trump says today. What he said, you know, what he said about Mexico. When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're bringing crimes. They're bringing, you know, rapists. and bringing problems, all that poverty and all that over here, calling it an S-hole country. Now we see where it's coming from. That these oppressors push that, and all they have to do is look to our supposed leaders who's sold out and gave them the green light to say these things about us, man. And that's diabolical.
Like that just show he don't give a damn about his own people. He only care about the green, the money. He don't give a damn about his own people. You gonna sell your own people out, but what they say, the oppressor give you what it is?
A gift destroy the heart.
Yeah, a gift to destroy the heart. That's all you care about is that goddamn gift. You don't give a damn about your own goddamn people. As long as your oppressor give you a gift, you satisfied, and then you'll go get your own goddamn people.
Concert. So like you, if I could to Option Kamada, so like you, sir, I found this right here. Was this the act you were talking about, the Farm Workforce Modernization Act?
So like I can't I don't know the English term for it, but I know in Spanish it was a it was like damn, my dad told me earlier today. Yeah, I can't recall, but I didn't look it up when he told me. That's what I should have done.
So like yeah.
Go ahead, Karan.
I found this, and I'll read it to you. It's called the Farm Workforce Modernization Act. Proposes a program allowing farm workers to earn legal permanent residency green card by working in agriculture. Though it has faced legislative hurdles, it creates a certified agricultural worker (CAW) status for those who pass background checks and prove prior consistent agricultural work. Key residency pathway: eligibility: undocumented workers with at least 180 days of agricultural experience over the past 2 years. A path to green card: CAW holders can apply for lawful permanent residency (LPR) after completing an additional 4 years of work if they had 10 plus years of previous experience, or 8 years if less than 10 years. Dependent status: spouses and children of CAW holders can also qualify for legal status. Additional provisions: the bill also includes changes to the H-2A guest worker program, making it more flexible for year-round agricultural work and reforming wage calculations. And then current temporary program, H-2A visa. The existing H-2A program allows employers to bring in foreign workers for temporary or seasonal agricultural work. The H-2A visa is non-immigrant, meaning it does not directly operate direct path to residency. So I don't know if it might have been the CAW, the Certified Agricultural Worker Program, probably.
That's what it sounds like, enough. Yup. It sounds like that.
And that's what so you're saying he had this, his family had this, and they were able to get the residency, the permanent legal residency through this program.
Oh, so like no, I was saying my grandfather.
Oh,
that's how my grandfather obtained. He was a farm worker, and he obtained his residency. So what I was saying, the reason why I said this because Chavez was saying that the farm workers are mad that the illegals are taking their jobs.
Right.
When I was saying that a lot of those farm workers got residencies through the farming. So, right. I don't think, like I be watching videos on Instagram of farm workers, and they embrace each other because at one point it was known that it was only like Mexicans. Now I see videos that it's like Guatemalans, Central Americans, and they're working side by side, hustling, busting, their sweat, and and it's amongst like not just Mexicans, it's Central Americans as well. And I see like they want to seize the opportunity. So I don't think that farm workers were mad at illegals because just like how they received an opportunity, I'm pretty sure that they were willing to have their relatives come over and get the same opportunity that they got. Because you got to understand that a lot of them also, when they got their residency, you read on there that they were able to bring their family and gain residency for them through that program as well. And what does that mean? That means that more illegals are going to come over and occupy jobs. So it just doesn't make sense with what he was pushing. He was saying that farm workers were mad. It doesn't make sense. It seemed like he had an agenda to bring animosity and contention between Hispanics, like you were saying, Mexicans and Mexican Americans.
Check this out. So like if I could, right, out of one of them, check this out. Look what I just typed in, right? So I typed in, was César Chávez COINTELPRO? The AI overview said this. It says, no, César Chávez was not a COINTELPRO agent. Rather, he and the United Farm Workers Union were targets of FBI surveillance and disruption under COINTELPRO, the FBI's counterintelligence program in the 1960s and the 1970s. Key facts regarding Chávez and COINTELPRO: targets of surveillance. The FBI under J. Edgar Hoover monitored Chávez and the UFW infiltrating the Union with agents to look for subversion. Reasons for targeting: the FBI suspected Chávez had a subversive background and looked for communist influence to discredit his union and undermine boycott efforts. Outcome of investigation: despite extensive surveillance, the FBI could not find any evidence of communist leanings, criminal activity, or disloyalty on the part of Chávez. FBI harassment: the FBI used its findings to try to undermine the UFW, sharing information with California growers and failing to investigate the illegal activities perpetrated against the farm workers. While some members of the labor movement at the time accused others of being communists for personal gain, and Chávez himself was a staunch opponent of illegal immigration, his movement was ultimately viewed as a threat to the established power structure and was actively investigated by the FBI. So, it's known that he was harassed by the FBI, by the COINTELPRO program. And of course, they're not saying it, but based on what he's saying, it's a possibility that they got to him, At least that's what I... Go ahead, sir. Salaki.
Salaki, right. It's like he gave up and gave in to him.
Khan, I'm wondering if that's what happened.
And even with all that, look how many goddamn oppressors got mad when Trump started passing them laws to kick everybody out. And they was hollering. We did what's y'all show a couple months ago where they were talking about
right
how they were kicking the people out and everything. And you had your oppressors mad. Well, we ain't got nobody to work for us now no more and all that.
Right.
They was mad behind that.
Khan.
When our people were just trying to get a way to live and survive. And Trump, he had ICE coming out, getting everybody out and trying to get everybody away. They was mad about that. Because the oppressor don't want to do the work himself. They never want to do the work themselves.
Right.
They want to use our people to do the work. And then in the end, you turn around, you get somebody else that's running the government, president or everything. He decides he won't kick them out.
So like, sir, we lost you right there at the end.
No, I say like when we got the oppressor that's mad that we can't do the work, and then you got the oppressor that's coming and trying to remove our people from doing the work.
Khan.
You got it.
Right. Khan, sir, now that's heavy you say that, because I mean, this oppressor is constantly trying to, undo what we do. Anything we try to do positive for our people, he'll come in and try to destroy that, try to throw it off, So I wouldn't put it past that might have been what happened with César Chávez. You know, but Salaki, let me play this other clip of him. And shout out Officer Lahab because he made this real.
Hero, but what's not talked about enough is his cruelty against his own people coming.
This is one of the most
from the border. Check this out.
Aclarando que muchos indocumentados participaron con nosotros como huelguistas también. Caminaron hasta Sacramento durante la marcha que habíamos hecho. Y cuando se firman los contratos en junio de 1970, lo primero que hizo Chávez fue poner en la ventanilla arriba, en la ventanilla donde entregaban las tarjetas del despacho para ir a trabajar. En la ventanilla arriba, pues, con letras grandes. Todo trabajador que no cuenta con papeles de residencia legal no puede ser miembro de tu sindicato.
Aunque habían participado en la Inconvenient.
Los que habían caminado inclusive a Sacramento quedaron afuera.
We were taught that César Chávez was a hero, but what's not talked about enough is his cruelty against his own people coming from the border. Check this out.
Aclarando que muchos indocumentados participaron con nosotros como huelguistas también. Caminaron hasta Sacramento durante la marcha que habíamos hecho. Y cuando se firman los contratos en junio de 1970, lo primero que hizo Chávez fue poner en la ventanilla arriba, en la ventanilla donde entregaban las tarjetas del despacho para ir a trabajar. En la ventanilla arriba, pues, con letras grandes. Todo trabajador que no cuenta con papeles de residencia legal no puede ser miembro de tu sindicato.
Aunque habían participado en la Inconvenient.
Los que habían caminado inclusive a Sacramento quedaron afuera.
So like y'all heard what the man said.
Carnal.
So for Officer Matabar Salai, so what he was saying is that César Chávez practically at the end, what was he? He was putting signs on his office building to let people with no documents, right? Undocumented were not allowed, right? That was the same more or less, Officer Kamada?
Nah, you know what? And now that I think about it, right? Because I was telling you that my father told me about how my grandfather, he had to hold shamar at one of the offices out here in San Isidro. That's like a border town to Tijuana, TJ. And the reason why is because the story that my grandfather told him is that somebody wanted to break in from the government, wanted to break into that office and take documents. So now that I think about it, right, when you read that COINTELPRO, it's like, I don't know, they were probably trying to buy him out and they wanted to take some documents from him, something.
Or let's go ahead. So like I would say, or the opposite. He was already bought out and someone was trying to take the evidence and expose him. Salakia.
Yeah, that could be true. That could be true.
Because it's just, it's a little suspicious to me, right? That all of a sudden, like you suffered the horrible conditions and the abuse of these employers, and you're not going to blame the employers. You're going to blame the undocumented. That's just, like I said, man, I wouldn't put it past that might have been what happened. But Salakia. Now, like that, I showed that clip and then the interview to show his character of who he was, because once again, people thought Cesar Chavez was this great revolutionary leader, pro-raza, looked out for his people. He didn't give a damn about the raza that was undocumented. He only cared about Mexican Americans, legal immigrants, right? The sister said it earlier when I asked it sounded familiar, right? And everything he said is exactly what I heard Trump supporters say. What I hear Latinos for Trump say. What I heard Donald Trump say when he started his whole campaign and how he demonized Mexicans for, to start his campaign. But now let's get into more into the topic now. Here's the first article, right, with Dolores Huerta, because right, where people are asking who are the victims, who are the people coming out saying these things. Well, one of them is Dolores Huerta. Let's see. Okay. Let me share the news story. Check this out.
Now have some new details this morning about the sexual abuse allegations against the late labor leader and civil rights activist Cesar Chavez. Fellow civil rights leader Dolores Huerta is one of Chavez's accusers.
And she just broke her silence in a statement on social media. She says Chavez sexually assaulted her and fathered 2 of her children. She says that happened twice. She sent those children to live with other families. According to her, she says that she has developed a deep relationship with those children and they've become close to her other children. In that statement, Huerta said in part, quote, "I carried this secret for as long as I did because building the movement and securing farm worker rights was my life's work. The formation of a union was the only vehicle to accomplish and secure those rights, and I wasn't going to let Cesar or anyone else get in the way. The farm worker movement has always been bigger and far more important than any one individual. Cesar's actions do not diminish the permanent improvements achieved for farm workers with the help of thousands of people. We must continue to engage and support our community, which needs advocacy and activism now more than ever." Huerta and Chavez founded the National Farm Workers Association, which later became the United Farm Workers. Yesterday, the UFW said it would not take part in any Cesar Chavez Day events on March the 31st because of the allegations they say many of them, they say, involved young women or minors. Obviously, something we'll continue to follow here at KCRA3 and bring you any developments as they happen.
Man, Salaka Carnal, if I could.
Carnal.
Because, one thing that she stated was that she wasn't going to let Cesar Chavez stop the movement. Well, taking advantage of herself and other women is stopping the movement, because now you're bringing other men who are seeing you, and now that spirit is going to grow on them. And the thing is that she allowed that spirit to grow. Because, it happened to her, what she said, twice? He was telling me. So the first time she didn't do anything, and then he did it again, and then he did it to women that were underage. So she allowed that spirit to grow, And if you could pull that script, well, you don't have to pull the scripture, just paraphrasing, where it says, woe to them that call evil good and good evil. Like her saying that she wasn't going to stop the movement, that's calling evil good. She was an advocate herself, an activist. Salaki, she was an activist herself. She could have exposed him and stood up for the raza.
Right.
You understand? So she's just, if he did that, if he committed, those crimes, she's just as guilty.
Right. That's what I'm about to say. Now we got to question her. Now we got to question you.
Cause
you was getting paid off or something too. That's why you kept it quiet until the news exposed it. Now you want to come out with it. You got to get questioned too, because you had the opportunity the first time it happened. Until you had the opportunity to expose it, but you didn't. You sat back and said it happened again. You got it.
Yeah, sir. You got it, Malagma.
So like I found here from what I read, right? She said that she didn't say anything because she didn't want to ruin the movement. She should have said something when that happened immediately, you know. And there's another scripture paraphrasing, right, where it says there may be a way that seemeth right to a man, but death is the end result. You know, of course, people didn't die here, but as you see, the damage was done because in her mind, she thought she was doing the right thing by not saying anything, by not ruining she didn't want to ruin the image. She said, right, that she looked up to Cesar Chavez and that, you know, I guess maybe in her mind, she didn't want to, you know, ruin, you know,
right,
the image she had of him. But, you know, by her not coming forward,
it's like if I can, it's like she was a respecter of persons.
Concert. I was gonna say what one thing that I noticed Israel suffers a lot from is respecter of persons. You know, that's why whenever you hear a story about like a pastor, a Catholic priest, you know, allegations of abuse going on in the church, you see the congregation defend the pastor, defend the priest. For some reason, when it comes to things of abuse, it's always we gotta hush up about it. We gotta be quiet. So on one end, I understand, you know, the allegations like telling her she should have, you know, she should have said something sooner, or why she's saying it now. But at the same time, it's good that she came out and said what she said. You know, definitely don't want to be quiet, and she didn't want to, you know, like the other possibility for her saying this is because she's 93 years old. You know, so maybe she's you know, doesn't want to take this to the grave with her and felt this needed to come out, you know. Of course, you know, we don't know if it's true or not. I know that her children, in a article I read, it was confirmed that they were Cesar Chavez's kids because the kids did a DNA test. You know, so I'm actually trying to find that news story. I think it might be right here. You know, one thing I will say, right, is that I do not view Cesar Chavez in a high regard as to some hero for my people. You know, to me, I see him as a traitor and a sellout, you know, for his stance against our undocumented brothers and sisters, man. And if he were alive today, best believe he probably would be out there supporting ICE. He would be a Latino for Trump, you know. So to add, you know, for this to come out now, and I'm not surprised. You know, I'm not surprised by this. And if it's found out to be true, I wouldn't still not be surprised. You know? So let me share this article real quick.
This is Eyewitness News at 5.
We've had over 200 incidents of violence committed against our pickets.
A man born from poverty and struggle.
We were hungry and frightened and in need of help.
Dedicated his life to a movement that became a calling.
The boycott will have to continue.
A movement that fought for the rights of millions of workers everywhere.
But a new page is being written in the life of Cesar Chavez.
And it's a page that has now cast a long shadow over a now questionable history.
See to it that justice is done.
Thank you for joining us tonight on Eyewitness News. I'm Rochelle Murcia.
And I'm Michael Patterson. A new report is raising questions about the legacy of the late labor leader Cesar Chavez. The New York Times carrying out a year-long investigation interviewing more than 60 people.
Here are some of the takeaways. According to the Times, Chavez sexually abused girls in the 1970s. At least 2 accusers have come forward. They were allegedly children of some of his organizers. His co-founder of the United Farm Workers Union, Dolores Huerta, now says Chavez raped her. She publicly spoke for the first time about the abuse to the New York Times.
She says she also had 2 children with Chavez, hiding the pregnancies and placing both children with other families. Chavez's brother had been Huerta's partner, and the 2 had a family. The Times also reports that another dozen women said they were pursued or even sexually harassed by Chavez, and that some of these concerns had been reported to the United Farm Workers Union. There were reportedly emails about abuse, but nothing was done about it.
And tonight, we have team coverage on the story, looking at Chavez's legacy and how these allegations will impact it.
The fallout is already being seen across California and the nation. So let's begin with Eyewitness News reporter Maria Celeste Alfaro, who's digging into what the accusations are and where they came from.
If he doesn't do that, the boycott will have to continue. And if the boycott continues, Yellow won't be able to give away his wine.
A New York Times investigation broke the news. Civil rights leader Dolores Huerta is one of several women coming forward, telling the paper they were groomed and sexually abused by towering workers' rights icon César Chávez.
The last 3 years of 76, 77, and 78.
In the article, Huerta described 2 encounters in the 1960s that she said were non-consensual encounters that left her pregnant both times. Also coming forward, Ana Murguia, Debra Rojas, Esmeralda Lopez. Murguia and Rojas claimed their sexual abuse happened when they were minors in the 1970s. Esmeralda Lopez encountered Chavez much later. She told the paper she was 19 when she was selected to travel with him on a tour. Chavez invited her to his camper, proposing to her that he could use his influence to get her something if she slept with him. Lopez told The Times she rejected the proposal and cut her trip short. I learned that both Murguia and Lopez live in Bakersfield. I went to an address listed for Murguia to ask for an interview.
Hi. Yeah, can't help you.
Hi, I'm here
You're
looking.
not here.
Looking
Not
for.
happening. Right.
Just confirming if it's
Bye.
Ana Murguia. The person who answered the door would only tell me an interview would not happen. I also called Lopez, but was unable to reach her by phone. So I went to an address I found that was listed for her. A woman who I spoke with confirmed Lopez lived at the house, but was not home at the time.
We had over 200 incidents of violence committed against our pickets.
All the woman told the paper that the labor movement they so passionately were a part of belonged to the man they once admired. But this is their story to tell as well.
And Maria also reached out to the Dolores Huerta Foundation to ask for an interview with Dolores. Maria was told that Huerta is not granting interviews at this time. However, she shared a statement on social media saying in part, quote, "As a young mother in the 1960s, I experienced 2 separate sexual encounters with César. The first time I was manipulated and pressured into having sex with him. And I didn't feel I could say no because he was someone that I admired, my boss and the leader of the movement I had already devoted years of my life."
Salaki, I heard that. So that's why she's saying she didn't say anything immediately, right? Because she admired him as a leader, saw him as her boss, and she devoted her life, right, so many years of her life to that movement. So of course, her experiencing that, I guess, was from what she's saying, it is a devastating blow, and right. She didn't want to face it, maybe, but yeah, it's the other 2 victims, right? They weren't able to get a statement from them. They didn't want to, I guess none of them are doing interviews right now for reasons unknown, but. This is what Dolores Huerta.
That's the problem we need to fix in our community. Don't wait till you get old, you know what I'm saying, to come out with your story. You got to do that when it happened off jump. Even if that's why I say you can't be a respecter of persons.
Right.
You respected that he had a movement going on, but he was doing wickedness in his movement.
Right.
You got to come out and shut that off top. You can't just wait till y'all both old and they old and everybody else coming out with it. You got to do that from the jump.
Right.
You got to let it be known. Don't be respectful.
If I could, right, I'll say this, right? If the allegations are true, as you saw, they said that they spoke up and they reported it to the organization, and that the organization didn't do anything about it, So if it's true, then the reports are true. And then it's true that the organization didn't do anything about it. So her not saying anything right then, like, She probably didn't want to face the reality that movement's already ruined. That movement's already corrupt. You know, because if they were getting reports and they stayed quiet and hid what this man was doing, it shows how evil they truly are as an organization. What's that scripture say? Is the head is sick, the whole body is sick. You know?
All right.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
What you saying was right, because you got to come out with the information as soon as it happens. You know what I'm saying? Even if they gonna go against you, then like Christ even faced persecution.
Right.
You know, you got to be willing to tell that truth and come out with it as soon as it happens. Don't wait till y'all both get old, then you come out and say it, because then people gonna be looking at you funny. Well, you was agreeing with it, you was going along with it. You know what I'm saying? You got to come out with it right from the jump and let them know what's going on to get them exposed for what they doing, all their wickedness.
Right. So, like, let me play some more.
Too. You can find the full statement from Dolores Huerta right now on our app and website, bakersfieldnow.com. And we continue our coverage right now with Eyewitness News reporter Jasmine Knox, who's looking back on Cesar Chavez's life and how he became an iconic labor rights leader.
Known as an American hero, activist, leader, Cesar Chavez lived his life full of resilience and bravery.
And I'm going to stop that right there, right? Because she called him an American hero, an activist, and a leader. I don't see this man as an American hero. I don't see him as an activist, and I don't see him as a leader. I stopped seeing him as any of that when I found out he made those statements. You know, can't be an American hero, at least to me, and you're gonna call my people wetbacks, call them mojados, complain and say the same rhetoric that white supremacists use against my people. You know. So you're no hero. I do not view this man as a hero, and that's why if this is true, I'm not surprised.
Chavez was born in Yuma, Arizona on March 31st, 1927. His family owned a farm, but like so many others during that time, lost it during the Great Depression. The family then moved to California and worked on multiple farms throughout the 30s. And as it was for so many people with little money during Depression era in America, life was challenging. To that end, a young Cesar Chavez dropped out of school to work full-time as a farm worker. That decision helped support his family. Chavez later enlisted in the U.S. Navy during World War II. He once recounted how the discrimination he experienced while in the Navy contributed to his commitment fighting for labor rights.
And that is such the hypocrisy. You understand? Like, you experienced I said this earlier, you experienced the racism, you experienced the discrimination, and then you went and projected it on your people. It doesn't matter if they're undocumented. And that's to a lot of you Mexican Americans, you Latinos for Trump. Anybody any Mexican, any Latino that you think you're different from your people that came over here, right, undocumented, you look so stupid charging your people and acting like you're different from them just because you have documentation, just because you were born on this side of the border. A border and documentation doesn't change your bloodline, man.
You know why? Because he took on that American part first.
Concert.
He took that part first. I'm American. He took that first over being what he is by his nationality. He took the American part first and took that to heart. I'm an American. That's why he went. What did it say? The Marines. That's why he joined the Marines. That's why. Because he took the American part first. He didn't give a damn about his people. He took that American part first. You got it.
And that's the thing. Your military service doesn't change your ethnicity either, man. For a lot of y'all veterans out there that think, just because you served in Esau's military, all of a sudden you're better than your people, man. America does not give a damn about your military service. For a lot of y'all out there, I hate to break your hearts out there. Well, I really don't. I'm just telling you the truth. America does not give a damn. You could lose a limb. You could lose your life. And this country will never appreciate your military service. That's why no so-called Black, Hispanic, or Native American should ever join America's military, man. And especially right now. How foolish you think it is y'all joining the military to go fight in Iran when you just had ICE raids happening, man? We are such a simple people, man. You know that we forget the things that are done to our people, and we think joining our oppressor is gonna fix our problems, man. When joining our oppressor makes things worse for us, man.
Right.
That's
what
what
I say. You can't serve two masters.
Right. Salaki, I'm play some more.
Following naval service, Chavez went back to work on the farm and married Helen Fabela, whom he shared 8 children with. In 1952, Chavez became a grassroots organizer for the Community Service Organization. His role involved helping Hispanic workers register to vote and combat discrimination. Fast forward 10 years later, Chavez left CSO to start his own labor union for farm workers in Delano called National Farm Workers Association, now known as United Farm Workers of America. Not only did Chavez fight hard for improving wages, the union's mission also addressed lack of access to better housing, healthcare, and education. This led to one of the biggest protests in history, the Great Boycott. Influenced by the nonviolent practices of Gandhi, Chavez led the boycott, which started in 1965 and lasted 5 years. It became a nationwide boycott where many people were asked not to buy grapes in solidarity of farm workers. The protests included marching, farmers refusing to work, and
Go ahead, sir.
So like, don't that sound like Martin Luther King?
That's what I was gonna say right now.
It sounds like he got them to march and vote and everything. Exactly the same thing Martin Luther King did. That's what's wrong with our people, man. We want to march and vote and try to fight for rights for people that don't love us. But you got it.
Sir. I would say that's heavy you say that, because that's what came to mind when I heard that. It's like, okay, so we do have a Martin Luther King of our own, you know, and Cesar Chavez, right? Just like him, just believed in Gandhi, but hated his own people. Was a sellout for his own people, man. No, let me continue. Salakia.
In order to receive better pay and respect. The massive 300-mile march from Delano to Sacramento was a success. It led to the first farm labor agreement being signed. On April 23, 1993, Cesar Chavez died in his sleep at the age of 66. On March 31, 2014, President Barack Obama made Cesar Chavez Day a federal holiday. Chavez's legacy has been kept alive by many organizations advocating for farm workers and their families. Many cities across the nation has named schools and streets after the late activists. In Bakersfield, Jasmine Knox, Eyewitness News.
And now the family of Cesar Chavez is speaking out.
Go ahead, sir.
That's the same thing with Martin Luther King.
Kawakan.
The same thing, man. You got it.
Kawakan. Salaki, here's the next part.
Following the allegations, calling the New York Times article, quote, deeply painful. The statement went on to say, quote, as a family steeped in the values of equity and justice, we honor the voices of those who feel unheard and who report sexual abuse. We carry our own memories of the person we knew. You can find the full statement from the Chavez.
Here's one question I have, right? Why is the family not saying, like, why are they not denying what he did if he didn't do it? You understand? You would think that the family would say, you know what? That's not the man I knew. There's no way he could have done that. I'm not hearing the family say that. The family instead is apologizing and saying they're going to hear the victims out, which I'm not charging the family for doing. You know, they should absolutely do that. But what's striking me is that they're not surprised that he did that. You know? Or I don't know. So like, am I reading that wrong? Salakia.
You right on purpose. Shit, like I say, he the Latino Martin Luther King.
Kawakan.
Like they was doing the same thing, selling our people out to the goddamn oppressor.
Right. Salaki Kamada, you there?
Yeah, Kankanar.
What do you think of that, sir? If I could.
Nah, yeah. Earlier on, when you played the clip and it said that they marched, I was gonna say the exact same thing, that it sounded like Martin Luther King. But I, like when he said he had people march, I'm like, God damn, it sounds exactly like somebody I know that at the end he said that he had integrated his people into a burning house.
Right.
Yeah, like, he wasn't for his people, and if it's true, the allegations, he also abused his people. He destroyed his people. But then again, it shouldn't. What happened to that sister? It shouldn't have happened to her. And she is a victim, but she allowed it to go further, because the first time it happened, when you what Officer Matabar and you are saying that you can't be a respecter of persons. A lot of our people got to stop doing that, because it's true what you're saying, that it happens in the church, and they always say innocent until proven guilty. It's like, well, how much more evidence and how many more victims need to come forward in order for him to be in order for the people to receive justice.
Right.
And again, I'm pretty sure that there were many other activists who were standing up for the raza, and that would have allowed somebody who really has their best interest in mind for their people to fight for them and come against the oppressor, and bring unity. But once again, there is no unity outside of the UPK.
Right.
I yield, Karna.
If I could, not just a question. You notice how the family's not denying it.
Oh, yeah. With that, I'm pretty sure, because it's like, if I could, right? She said that I believe I heard that she was in a relationship with his brother. No, did I hear that right?
I don't know. I don't remember hearing that. Let me rewind it back. This is what the family said.
I thought I heard that when they were saying that how she gave. Oh, go ahead, Kana. Go ahead.
So, I'll play the clip for you, sir.
Times article, quote, deeply painful. The statement went on to say, quote, as a family steeped in the values of equity and justice, we honor the voices of those who feel unheard and who report sexual abuse. We carry our own memories of the person we knew. You can find the full statement.
Wait, so they said, so his family's saying they carry their own memories of the person they knew? So what do they mean by that? That would be my question. What are they talking about?
They say they carry the same memories of him that they knew, because they looked at him as someone that was high above on stature. They don't believe the memories that he did all those things that he did, even though he got victims coming out.
Okay, come on. What I was thinking is, did he do that to his own family too? Is that Salakia?
It's just like with Martin Luther King. His family ain't come out and say he didn't sleep with no white woman and all that, like that.
Right.
I would say. So they don't know that memory,
Okay, Khan. So that's what they say. Okay. So Michael Love, Shalamak, real quick, you said Salakia, didn't it say that one of the victims had two children by him? Khan, not. It was Dolores Huerta. Dolores Huerta had two kids by him, and actually going to play that part next. That's what I was trying to get to in this video.
Men from the Chavez family right now on our app and website, bakersfieldnow.com. And Cesar Chavez Boulevard in Bakersfield is no more.
The city is putting a stop to its plan to name a street after Chavez in light of the allegations tied to the late civil rights activist.
Eyewitness News reporter Steve Virgin spoke with the city councilman who agreed with the action.
Back in August, Bakersfield City Councilman Zach Bashertash.
Hey, so like real quick, for Chikamada. Hey, so like, carnal, does that mean that Cesar Chavez Avenue in East LA is going to be Brooklyn Avenue again?
They probably go back to it.
It's going to go back to Brooklyn Avenue.
Could be.
Damn, that Huelga Bird, man. That Huelga Bird is not going to, hold the same meaning anymore. If this is true, man. I know a lot of Raza likes that bird, man. But if this comes out that it's true, man, people are going to look at the whole thing differently.
Posed the city's decision to rename a street after Cesar Chavez. When sexual abuse allegations came out about Chavez, Bashertash knew what was needed.
Well, immediately when I saw the allegations, I began to formulate a plan to try and get that rescinded. But fortunately enough, there was some common sense and some individuals, they decided to do that.
Bakersfield Mayor Karen Go sent a statement to Eyewitness News. Quote, any sexual assault, abuse, and exploitation of minors and vulnerable persons is unacceptable. I am saddened for those impacted. A New York Times article refers to a woman who said she was sexually abused by Chavez. She says she recently learned that the city had planned to rename a street after her alleged abuser. But the city sent a statement Wednesday morning. Quote, the city of Bakersfield has become aware of allegations regarding Cesar Chavez during his time as the president of the United Farm Workers of America. In light of these allegations, the city will be terminating efforts to rename.
It's a lot, kid. It's not it. As you see, right now they're changing the names to the streets. Like there was a video I played earlier where on my page I have it actually a sister they're painting over his mural. Like a lot of people are saying don't judge and you're rushing to judgment, but you know what? And this is something that's heavy, and this is where I'm glad I'm in the ISUPK and I'm learning the truth, because what's being demonstrated, right, with the Raza and the way they're reacting to these allegations with Cesar Chavez changing the names to the streets, taking his murals down, saying they're gonna stand with the victims. You know what that shows me, Arawanium?
Go ahead, Carnal.
It shows me that us as so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we have something that America does not have, which is morality. Because if one of our higher-ups that we see, that we see in high regard, does something horrible, we're quick to cancel them. We're quick to speak out. We might have that problem of respect of persons, right? But there's also being shown that there's many people that do not have that and will not support Cesar Chavez, will take down his murals and speak out against him. Meanwhile, in America, a president is getting accused of the same thing. Proof has came out that he's been on that island, on Epstein's island. Has had accusations of similar things, and no one dares demand that he step down as president. America's not willing to give up its president's day because of the evil that these past presidents have done. Meanwhile, for Mexicans, one of their held revolutionary leaders does something bad, and the Raza's not protesting the cancellation of Cesar Chavez Day. Why? Because so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans have morality versus America, which has none. And I learned that being in here. Salakia.
I'm right. But you speaking the truth, because what Trump said, grab him by the coochie.
Right.
They forget about that. They don't give a damn. Don't forget about all them felonies he got it or nothing like that. They still made him president.
Right, sir.
But they own people gonna love their own people. Our people have a hatred against each other, you know what I'm saying? Where we'll bring each other down. And if you're wrong, you should be brought down. So I'm not saying, I don't know if he did it or not, but it came out. But at the same time, he spoke against his own people, which made him look suspect.
Right.
You got it.
So, like, yeah, I think this is a clip right here. I just want to play this clip because I wanted to play the part where Dolores Huerta goes into, you know.
I could say no because he was someone that I... Chavez. In her statement, she describes two separate encounters from the 1960s. She says, quote, "The first time I was manipulated and pressured into having sex with him, and I didn't feel I could say no because he was someone that I admired, my boss and the leader of the movement I had already devoted years of my life to. The second time, I was forced, against my will, and in an environment where I felt trapped." End quote. Huerta also says both encounters resulted in pregnancies. She says, quote, "I chose to keep my pregnancy secret, and after the children were born, I arranged for them to be raised by other families that could give them stable lives. Over the years, I have been fortunate to develop a deep relationship with these children, who are now close to my other children, their siblings." End quote. In a phone call, a spokesperson for Huerta said her two daughters learned she was their mother 20 years after their birth. The spokesperson told us they did not learn Cesar Chavez was their father until 2019, after taking a 23andMe genetic test. The spokesperson also said they only learned the truth about their conception within the past several weeks. The Chavez family released a statement saying they were devastated by the news, adding, quote, "We wish peace and healing to the survivors and commend their courage to come forward. As a family steeped in the values of equity and justice, we honor the voices of those who feel unheard and who report sexual abuse." End quote. The allegations come as the United Farm Workers acknowledge what it calls serious and troubling claims involving Chavez. Reactions from across the country are continuing to emerge.
I'm still shaking a little bit about Dolores and all these young women. So I want you to say something first, and I'll jump in. It's a lot.
Salakia. So as you heard, right, that's how she confirmed that the children confirmed that they were his children with that DNA test, the 23andMe test. You know. And as you're hearing from the organization, from the family, like, they're not denying this, right? They're not saying we never heard of these allegations. They're not saying, you know, we know that no way he didn't do this. You know, they're apologizing and standing with the victims. So what does that say? That, you know, like, is this really a conspiracy against Cesar Chavez to you know, take away Cesar Chavez Day? Or did this actually happen? You know? Did this really actually happen? Did he really do these things? And yeah, the man's been dead for you know, he's no longer alive, but you know, that's the thing. Like, the fact that it's Dolores Huerta, who was very close to him, coming out and saying this, like, is there really some agenda at hand, or did this really happen? I don't know. What do y'all brothers think?
I mean, shit. I can't really speak on it because, you know,
yeah,
we can only go off what we hear.
Right.
You know, if that's his kids, that's his kids. You know what I'm saying? And she knew this. She should have came out with it. Don't wait to go to Esau at the end of the day after he unalive, and then you want to come out and expose it. You're supposed to do this from the beginning. You got it.
So, like, yeah, Shikamada, anything you wanted to say?
Yeah, no, I was saying the same thing. Like, you know, we can't say if he did it or not. I mean, for sure, you know, the clip that he called illegals wetbacks, you know, that for sure.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? He's on tape. He's on the record stating that. But, you know, this right here, she's like 95 years old. He died in 93. And, you know, all of a sudden, you know, you're saying this. You know, why not say it, you know, a few years ago? Why not, you know, why say it when, you know, now I guess that what they honor him? Is there a day for him or something like that?
Yeah, at the end of the month is César Chávez
Okay,
Day, which is March
right. So
31st.
like, why now? You know, he's gonna be honored, and you know, now they come in, they're exposing it. Why not expose it like the beginning of the year, or at the end, you know, at the fall of last year, or you know, some what have you? Like, why now? You understand? But yeah, again, I can't say he did it. I can't say he didn't do
He
it
did
either.
or he didn't. Right. I don't
Yeah,
know.
you know, but if he did, he was wrong, and she should have exposed him from the beginning. You know, and
Come.
you know that's the one thing that brothers and sisters need, the wisdom of the Most High, because if they would have had the wisdom of the Most High, he would have been exposed, and that demon would have not grown and spread, right? And it, you know, and that's the one thing that we have to expose predators. We have to
Right.
expose traitors. We have to expose, you know, anybody that's against righteousness. You
So like,
understand? That's
yeah.
it. Go ahead, Kyle.
Now, if I could, I'm gonna pull out a scripture because you know. Let me say this: if you don't expose it, the Lord will expose it. You know. And where's that precept? It's is it Luke? Yeah, Luke 12. Luke 12 and 2. I'm gonna pull it real quick. And I'll say this, right? Those allegations are still up, you know, haven't been confirmed yet. But the other things he's done have been confirmed, right? The internalized racism, the self, you know. Let me start with verse 1. They actually, you know. Also, like from Michael Lewis said, if I may, I want to say Salaki to Officer Matabar for not saluting him. If that was him at the school last Sabbath, you just Salaki. Michael Love says Salaki, sir, for not saluting you.
Nah, ain't no sweat. I wasn't at school last Saturday, but ain't no sweat.
Come on. All right, let me share the scripture real quick. This is Luke 12 and 1. It says, in the meantime, when there were gathered together an innumerable multitude of people, insomuch that they trod one upon another, he began to say unto his disciples, first of all, beware ye of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. I'll say this, right? I can't compare César Chávez to a modern day Pharisee because he is a hypocrite. You understand? He's a hypocrite in that he was displaying the same discrimination and the same hatred that he was shown and that he claimed to be fighting against unto his own brothers and sisters that were undocumented. You understand? Calling them racial slurs when he was called that. So and he claimed to be against it, but he was doing the same thing. So he was a hypocrite. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. Now, we don't know whether it happened or not, but let's just say it did happen, right? As you see, Dolores Huerta try to cover it up and keep it hush. And now it's coming out. Now you have other victims. Now it's being brought out that allegedly the UFW knew about it and did nothing. They tried to hide it, but it still came out because the Lord, you know, if this is true and it happened and this is being exposed, the Lord exposed it. The Lord brought it out. Right? There shall not be revealed, neither hid, there shall not be known. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. Therefore, whatsoever ye have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light. And that which ye have spoken in the ear and closets shall be proclaimed upon housetops. That Salakia, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want you, but it says, therefore, whatsoever he has spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light. That interview where he was saying those things was a lost interview. He was trying to, I think they were trying to hide that tape, but it got it released. Salakia, After Madabar and Nasr Kamada.
Hey, damn right, man. Same thing with what happened with Martin Luther King.
Right.
You got it.
It says, and that which ye have spoken in the ear in closets shall be proclaimed upon housetops. This video came out on YouTube for everyone to see, right? I'm assuming Salaki, if I got it wrong, but you're saying it in the closet, but it's proclaimed upon the housetops where everybody could hear. You thought it was going to be hidden inside the closet, but it's on the housetop where everyone could hear and everyone finds out. You understand? So that was it for that part. You can't hide nothing. Everything you do, the Lord will, the Lord sees it. You think you're hiding, you think you're doing something in secret. There's an angel right there looking at everything you do, documenting what you do, and then takes it back and reports it to the Lord. You understand? So if there's anything to take away from this, it's that if you're going to be a man that's a leader for your people, you have to be, what's that scripture say? A bishop is the husband of one wife and is blameless, right? Of course, we know the one wife is the truth, but there's a reason why it says a bishop must be blameless. You cannot be a righteous leader of your people and you're doing evil things behind the scenes. You cannot be dealing with your oppressor to turn against and taking his money for him to turn you against your people and think that you're going to be some revolutionary leader. You're going to be shown to be a hypocrite and a liar is what you're going to be shown to be. The Bible says what? Greater is the day of one's death than the day of their birth. So you thought, and it's devastating for his family because, he passed away and he was seen as this great person. And now they're finding out allegations of horrible things. You imagine the toll that's taking on them. You understand? So if you're gonna be in a position like Cesar Chavez, you cannot be doing things like that, man. Right. You cannot speak out against your people if you claim to be. You cannot be a hypocrite. So let me put it like that. You can't be a hypocrite if you're gonna be a person in that position. You understand? But still, you.
Damn right. What you saying is heavy, man. Look, what they say is on people, they ain't gonna remember him like that.
Right.
They gonna remember the good things about him.
Right.
And he get exposed for what he was really doing.
Come concert.
If he was doing it,
Come on. So after coming down, did you want to say anything? Because we already we're getting to the top of the hour.
Nah, you on point with that. You know what I mean? Like, what you were saying. Like, either way, the truth is gonna come out. And what the scripture says too, that it's better to have a good name.
Right, it's better to have a good. You want me to find it? I find it. Read it.
No, it's a while. You know what I mean? Meaning your reputation. Your reputation is what's credible. It's not what what you stand for, but it's your reputation according to the wisdom of the Most High. You know what I mean? To the knowledge of the Most High power. Like, you understand? But if you want to read it, no sweat.
Come on, I'll read it real quick, just because it's Ecclesiastes. What is it? Ecclesiastes. So that's Proverbs 22:1. Let's see. Share it. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 1. A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold. Was that it?
So like that wasn't it. I don't know if I paraphrased it right, but you know, the point is, you know what I mean, your reputation, because you know, you want to have a good name where they be like, hey, you know, so and so, you know, he has a reputation, and your reputation, if somebody says something,
it's right here.
Oh, okay.
It's Ecclesiastes 7:1, which I paraphrased earlier.
Okay.
A good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth.
Khan, you know what I'm saying? And a good name, meaning your reputation. It's better to have a good reputation because you don't know what's going to be said of you when you die. But if you have a good reputation, we're gonna know, like, hey, you know what? He wasn't even like that. That's a lie right there. But because of the things he said and the way he was moving, it could be true what Dolores Huerta is saying.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because he didn't have a good reputation, and his name wasn't, you know, a good standing. And that's the reason why we can't say he did it or he didn't say it. But it's better to have a good name. It's better to have a reputation according, again, to the knowledge and wisdom of the Most High. That way, everybody tries to make an allegation about you, then be like, nah, I know this brother's reputation.
Right.
He never moved like that. He never you know, talk like that, or what have you. You understand? I yield.
So like, if I could, I'm not right. And if I could, Officer Matabar, I want to say this real quick, right? I'll give you an example. Recently, they tried to do a smear campaign on Commanding General Yohana, where they came out with allegations and claims against him, but he was able to stand on him because the men around him know him, and were able to show how these allegations were lies. You understand? General Muhammad brought out the proof of how it was a lie. General Katunkabar came out with the proof that it was a lie, right? They tried and showed how they tried to fake a profile. General Katunkabar said, apparently saying that he had the inside scoop and whatnot, but he was able to show how it was a lie, and Commander Johanna was able to clear his name. You understand? Now look at what's happening with César Chávez. He got he of course he's not alive, but his name got stained, and people are claiming it's a smear campaign, but his reputation is not the greatest right now because of the things he said and did. His family knows him, and look at how his family can't even defend him. You understand? They can't even defend him.
Right.
And that's too.
Shit, I've been in the school since the end of 2013. They've been trying to come out with a smear campaign against the generals, and none of that was never hold weight.
Kawakan.
They always failed since they tried.
Kawakan. And if I could say, it shows you who the Lord is with. You understand? The Lord is with Commanding General Yohana. The Lord is with the ISUPK. And Salaki, this is going to break hearts. But obviously, the Lord is not with the UFW. The Lord is not with any other movement outside. Why? Because the way y'all move out there, man. And I understand it's offensive. You understand you don't like hearing that, but I'm just telling you the truth, man. The Bible says you shall know them by their works. Our works, speak for themselves, man. Salakia, Adawanyam, got a question from Michael Love. He says, Salakia, sir, Proverbs 22:1 is a precept for that Pastor Jamal Bryant for taking that money to stop the Target boycott. I don't know if y'all wanted to answer because Salakia,
you got to read the scripture.
Come on, I'll go to Proverbs 22:1. It was the precept. Let me go back real quick. It says Proverbs 22:1. It says, a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold. So I think he's asking, is Proverbs 22:1 a precept for that Pastor Jamal Bryant for taking that money to stop the Target boycott? because it says a good name is rather to be chosen in great riches and loving favor rather than silver and gold.
Yeah, if he took that money, then he ain't got no good name.
Khan. When I would have said right for Jamal Bryant is a gift destroyed the heart. Salakia. And that's
you're right. It's the same thing. He took that money. He ain't got a good name. That gift destroyed his heart. So it's the same thing.
Khan.
Yeah, sell out. He gonna continue to sell out.
Khan. Jamal Bryant, that one cat that was throwing the food and stuff against the wall and on the Bible and stuff, moving all feminine like. Is that him?
I think
I don't even know
Jamal
who
Bryant
he
is
is.
the one that's in Baltimore.
Okay, because there was a pastor that got mad about the Drewski video, the Drewski skit, right, where he did the Christian, of the Christian church, and he was like moving all zesty like and throwing food on the,
Yeah, I ain't see the video, but he probably the same person. I mean, all you Christian pastors get mad at the truth and throw everything against the wall, chairs, everything.
Right.
They get mad when we battle.
Oh no, that's not Jamal. Oh, wait, is it? Nah, it's a different brother. I would say this though, César Chávez, is up there with them pastors and them priests, right? They take that money and do what sell out and do horrible things, and it's just a matter of time before the truth comes out. Salaki, Asher Kamadai, go ahead.
Oh yeah, Salaki. Yeah, that was me. I said right. Shit, they all get exposed at the end.
Khan. But there you have it. Like I said, man, in these coming days, right, you're going to see who the Lord stands with and who the Lord is not standing with, man. So for you Rasa out there, man, for you so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man, it'd be in your best interest to pay attention and wake up. What do you say, Ashikamada? Wake your goddamn game up. It's time. Now is the high time to awake and come out of sleep. As you're seeing the people you look up to as great leaders, you're coming to find out they're not so great after all. You're coming to find out they're not the people they portrayed themselves out to be.
Right.
So now is the time where you want to follow the Lord. You want to follow Christ. And the way to do that is in here in the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana, man. But with that, man, I know we're at the top of the hour, man. This was, we wanted to just address, this situation that's been coming out with César Chávez, which is a big, shocker for the quote unquote Latino community, Mexican community, Many people did look up to César Chávez, and saw him as a hero. I am not one of them, I saw, I learned the things about this man, that prove he was not, he didn't give a damn about his people. But, and it's only a matter of time before we find out whether these allegations are true or not. And it's only a matter of time where if you think, you don't have to follow us or listen to us, and you think whatever movement you're in is right, it's only a matter of time before the Lord exposes that wasn't the right movement either, man. But with that, man, I invite y'all to like, share, and subscribe. If you're watching this episode at a later time and you have some questions, go ahead and type them in the comments, leave them in the comments, or email us, man. You can also DM us. It's the Inconvenient Truth 1969 at gmail.com. The Inconvenient Truth 1969 on Facebook, on Twitter X, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook. You can DM us, comment, whatever you want to do, man. Contact us if you have any questions, and we'll get back to you, man. But of course, once again, man, like, share, and subscribe. And also, man, you got the Lord's 57th annual Passover coming up April 4th, man, in Houston, Texas, man. Be there, Raza. For all you Raza that's learning about being an Israelite, that's been following this, and hearing us out, man. Now is the time to wake up and come into the truth, man. You want to start by attending the Passover, man, in Houston, Texas, and engage in this brotherhood and sisterhood and this carnalismo, right? Also for so-called Blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans también, man. Y'all welcome to come check us out in Houston, Texas, man. You know, the Lord's 57th annual Passover, man. Coming up, man. It's right around the corner. But with that, man, I'm going to say, Yahweh Shimi Hawashai Barakatah Carnales, and Yahweh Shema Elutah Shimi Hawashai to the mujeres. So, like, y'all, did y'all want to say any, close out with anything else?
The water for y'all having me up here, man. It's 4:25 in the morning, so I'm about to give me some rest, but Yahweh Shimi Hawashai. Yahweh Shema Thamba Shimi Hawashai. You know, like the brother said, make sure y'all like, subscribe. You know, like he said, the Passover coming up April 4th down in Houston, Texas. Make sure y'all there, man. For real brotherhood and sisterhood.
Damn right. The Water Adawan for joining us, man. Definitely is always, an honor to have you with us, man.
Shalom, Israel.
Hey, shalom Israel. Shalom Canales y Mujeres. We'll be back at it again next week, Lord allow, man. Shalom.
Saludos para todos ustedes. Saludos a toda la raza, a todo negro, latino, hispano y indio indígena que se encuentra en las Américas. Saludos para todos ustedes. Este año entrando se va a estar celebrando la fiesta solemne de la Pascua, o lo que conocemos como el Passover, que es una ordenanza y mandamiento de Dios que todos, ¿verdad?, tienen que participar, todos tienen que unirse y celebrar, ¿verdad?, esta fiesta, ¿verdad?, que es parte de nuestra herencia, parte de nuestra ley, ¿verdad?, como dice en el libro de Éxodos, capítulo 12, en el verso 14, dice: y este día os será en memoria y lo celebraréis como fiesta solemne para Yahweh durante vuestras generaciones. Por estatuto perpetuo lo celebrarás. Así que ya saben, mi raza, mi gente, ¿verdad? En este año entrando se va a celebrar, ¿verdad?, la Pascua del Señor, ¿verdad? Todo mentado negro, latino, hispano, ¿verdad?, es ordenado a ir. Este año, como ven, va a ser en Houston, Texas, ¿verdad? Para todos los que puedan ir, vénganse. Ahí estaremos celebrando, ¿verdad?, desde el miércoles hasta toda la semana. Así que ahí nos vemos. Shalom.
Andando los dos tomando.